Артур Конан Дойл. Собака Баскервилей. Уровень B1, B2. Издательство Direct Media, 2026 год. Адаптированное под уровень английского языка B1, B2 изложение классического произведения The Hound of the Baskervilles. Книга входит в серию Easy Classics, где представлены известнейшие классические произведения британской и американской литературы в печатном, электронном виде и аудиоформате.
Chapter 1. Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, commonly late in the mornings, unless he had been busy all night, was at the breakfast table. I stood on the hearthrug, looking at the intriguing walking stick left by last night's visitor. It was sturdy, with a bulbous head, a Penang lawyer, and had an engraved silver band. To James Mortimer, MRCS, from his friends of the CCH, dated 1884. Such a stick, dignified and reassuring, seemed typical for a traditional family doctor. "Well, Watson, what do you make of it?" Holmes queried without glancing my way. His ability to notice things without appearing to was always remarkable. "How did you know what I was doing?" I asked, curious as ever. "I have a very polished, silver-plated coffee pot reflecting everything," he mentioned, with a smile. "But let us focus on this stick. Since our visitor missed us, this forgotten item is our only clue. What does it tell you about him?" I analyzed aloud. "Dr. Mortimer is likely a respected, experienced medical practitioner. The gift suggests he is held in high regard by his colleagues." "Good," Holmes encouraged. "What more?" "I deduce he is a country doctor who travels on foot. The wear on the stick implies a lot of walking." "Logical enough," said Holmes. "And what of the CCH?" "My guess would be a local hunt club he assisted, and they expressed their thanks with this gift." "Clever, Watson, though perhaps not entirely accurate," Holmes noted with his typical half-amused tone. He seemed to have a different theory in mind. Holmes suggested the initials, CCH, might refer to Charing Cross Hospital. A presentation from a hospital upon leaving a city post for a country practice seemed customary. It was an interesting angle, different from my own assumption. Checking the medical directory, I found several Mortimers, but only one fitted: James Mortimer, who had indeed served as a house surgeon at Charing Cross Hospital and now practiced in Devon. His accolades included winning a prize for pathology and contributing to medical journals. With no indication of a local hunt, it seems we lean towards hospital connections, as per your intuitive guess, Holmes concluded with a grin. Holmes further speculated on Dr. Mortimer's character: amiable, given the testimonials; unambitious, having traded city for country life; and absent-minded, evident from forgetting his stick. Our discussion was interrupted by the appearance of the very man, Dr. Mortimer. Tall, with a beak-like nose and keen gray eyes, he seemed both professional and a bit windswept, as if not entirely concerned with the tidiness of his appearance. His joy at recovering the stick was immediate. It turned out to be a wedding gift from colleagues. Rather than a simple professional farewell, Holmes and I exchanged glances, acknowledging the slight deviation in our deductions. As Dr. Mortimer settled in, he expressed a blend of anxiety and purpose, seeking Holmes's advice on a pressing and peculiar matter. Holmes, intrigued by both the man and his mysterious case, listened intently, setting the stage for what promised to be an engaging investigation. Chapter 2. The Curse of the Baskervilles. Dr. James Mortimer entered the room carrying an old manuscript. "Early 18th century, unless it's fake," Holmes remarked, to which Mortimer replied, "The exact date is 1742. This important document had been entrusted to him by Sir Charles Baskerville, whose unexpected and tragic death caused much excitement in Devonshire. Sir Charles, a shrewd and practical man, took this legend very seriously, believing it foretold his fate. Holmes took the manuscript and examined the yellowed paper. It contained a statement regarding a legend associated with the Baskerville family. According to the tale, a terrible curse haunted them for generations, stemming from the actions of Hugo Baskerville. Hugo was a wild and godless man who once chased a local maiden across the moor after kidnapping her. When his companions found Hugo, they were horrified to discover a giant, ghostly hound had killed him. This story kept the Baskerville family in fear, as many had met untimely and mysterious deaths. Dr. Mortimer then produced a newspaper article from the Devon County Chronicle detailing the death of Sir Charles Baskerville. Sir Charles, known for his kindness and generosity, made his fortune in South Africa before returning to restore Baskerville Hall. Although deemed a heart attack, the peculiar circumstances of his death raised concerns. He was found at the end of Yew Alley, his footprints changing as if he had been tiptoeing. No signs of violence were found, but his face was distorted with terror, leading Dr. Mortimer to suspect something unnatural. Dr. Mortimer, hesitant to share these details publicly, feared adding to the Hall's grim reputation. He recalled Sir Charles's growing anxiety over the curse and his conviction that a terrible fate awaited him. Sir Charles often asked if Dr. Mortimer had noticed anything unusual on his nighttime visits, hinting at the presence of a spectral hound before his death. Sir Charles planned to leave for London on Dr. Mortimer's advice, hoping a change of scenery might improve his health. But tragedy struck the night before his departure. Barrymore, the butler, discovered Sir Charles's body and summoned Dr. Mortimer. Examining the scene, Dr. Mortimer noted footprints belonging to a giant hound, convinced the curse might be more than just a legend. Holmes listened with growing interest, intrigued by the mystery of the hound and the apparent danger surrounding the Baskerville family, setting the stage for his investigation. Chapter 3. The Problem. I felt a shiver at Dr. Mortimer's words. His deep concern caught Holmes's interest, as his eyes glittered with excitement. "You witnessed this?" Holmes asked. "Yes, as clearly as I see you now." "Why didn't you speak up? What good would it have done?" "Was there anyone else who noticed?" "The marks were far from the body. They wouldn't have noticed unless they knew the legend." "There are sheepdogs on the moor?" "Yes, but this was far bigger than any sheepdog." "How large?" "Huge." "Had it approached the body?" "No." "What was the weather like?" "Damp and chilly." "But it wasn't raining?" "No." Holmes asked detailed questions about the setting and the path where Sir Charles was found. He examined how the yew hedge ran along the path and how there was a grass strip on either side. They discussed how the path was accessed only by the house or through the moor gate. Dr. Mortimer described how Sir Charles had stood near the moor gate, as indicated by drops of ash from his cigar, before collapsing. Holmes expressed frustration at missing the chance to inspect the scene himself, blaming the loss of crucial evidence to witnesses and weather. Dr. Mortimer clarified that calling Holmes before now would have made the events public and potentially hurtful. Holmes was curious if Dr. Mortimer thought the incidents were supernatural. Mortimer mentioned reports of sightings of a mysterious creature on the moor, matching the Baskerville legend. The accounts terrified the locals, who feared crossing the moor at night. Holmes, ever skeptical, needed more logical explanation but agreed the footprints were indeed physical evidence. Holmes pondered why Dr. Mortimer came to him if he believed the matter supernatural. Dr. Mortimer revealed he needed advice on how to handle Sir Henry, Sir Charles's heir, who was arriving soon in England from Canada. Dr. Mortimer worried about Sir Henry going to Baskerville Hall, knowing the family's fate and the region's dependence on the Baskerville presence. Holmes mulled over the situation, noting that if a supernatural force had been at work, it should pose a threat anywhere, not only in Devonshire. He advised Dr. Mortimer to meet with Sir Henry at the station, though withholding details until Holmes assessed the situation. Holmes asked Dr. Mortimer to bring Sir Henry to Baker Street the following morning, promising to provide advice after further consideration. Holmes then spent the day deeply focused on the case, examining maps, contemplating evidence, and considering every possibility. By evening, when Watson returned, Holmes had charted an exploration of the area around Baskerville Hall, fascinated by the challenge ahead. Chapter 4. Sir Henry Baskerville. The next morning, Dr. Mortimer returned to Baker Street with a guest, a young man of about 30. He was short, but strong and confident. His face was tanned, and his eyes were dark and sharp. It was clear he had spent a lot of time outdoors. He introduced himself as Sir Henry Baskerville. "Good morning, Mr. Holmes," he said. "If Dr. Mortimer hadn't brought me here, I would have come on my own. Something very strange has happened." He showed Holmes a letter. It had been delivered to him that morning at his hotel, the Northumberland. The envelope was plain, and the address was written in capital letters. Inside was a short message, made from words cut out of a newspaper and glued to the paper. It read, "As you value your life or your reason, keep away from the moor." Only the word moor was written by hand. Holmes studied the letter. "This was clearly made yesterday using the Times newspaper," he said, "and judging by the poor ink and pen, the envelope was addressed in a hotel." Holmes also noticed that some of the words weren't glued in a straight line. This person was likely in a hurry, or very nervous. Sir Henry was clearly puzzled. "I want to know who is watching me and why." But that wasn't the only strange thing. Sir Henry had bought new boots the day before. He had left them outside his hotel room to be cleaned, and one of them was missing. Later that day, a different, old boot also disappeared. Holmes took all this seriously. These are not random things. Someone is trying to scare or distract you, or perhaps both. Holmes, Watson, and Sir Henry went for a walk. Holmes noticed a man with a thick black beard watching them. When they tried to follow him, the man escaped in a cab. Holmes asked around, but no one knew who he was. Dr. Mortimer mentioned that Mr. Barrymore, the servant at Baskerville Hall, also had a black beard. Holmes sent a telegram to check if Barrymore was at the hall, or not. That evening, Holmes told Watson, "There are many questions and too few answers. But we must protect Sir Henry. I want you to go to Baskerville Hall with him. You must write to me often and tell me everything," Watson agreed. He and Sir Henry would leave for Devon the next day.